A lone longliner runs on night power, pushing deeper offshore to set a fresh line at dawn.
Salt spray coats the working deck, while the crew checks lashings and keeps gear ready for the set.
The captain plots a heading by paper chart, keeping the vessel steady in darkness and rising wind.
Circle hooks hang in ordered rows, designed to set cleanly in the jaw without deep hooking. Frozen bait is portioned with gloved hands, kept cold and consistent to match every hook in the spread.
Before the set, every man clips a tether and checks PPE, treating steel wire like moving machinery.
The hauler turns under light load, proving hydraulics and brakes before miles of line hit the drums.
Weather and sea state go into the log, building a record that guides decisions through the trip.
Under floodlights, the deck becomes a floating workshop, isolated by darkness and open water to night.
With first light, the skipper scans for calm water, timing the set to reduce tangles and strain.
Bait meets steel in steady rhythm, each circle hook dressed the same to keep the set predictable.
Engines clip onto the main line, spacing and tension kept uniform across thousands of hooks today.
Each hook disappears into deep blue, starting a long soak far below the hull quietly.
The main line streams astern, controlled through fair leads so the set stays straight in each swell.
Each hook disappears into deep blue, starting a long soak far below the hull quietly. Positions are written by hand, keeping a simple track of where the gear lies across the ocean. Hydraulics hum as the set continues, and the crew keeps clear of rollers that can bite hard. Below the surface, the baited hook sinks through light, entering a colder world where big predators cruise. The line hangs in the water column, a quiet chain of chances spaced for wide-ranging fish.
Hours pass over open water, and the set finishes with miles of gear stretched behind the stern. Meals are fast and functional, keeping energy up for the haul that follows the soak. A night watch holds course and speed, guarding the gear while the ocean stays black and wide.
At dawn, landing slings and de-hook tools are staged, ready for whatever the hooks bring up.
A sudden bend on a branch line signals weight below, turning routine hauling into a live fight. From the wheelhouse, the skipper trims speed, helping the crew hold pressure without snapping leaders. The leader loads up hard, and the crew works with measured pulls as a deep fish comes closer.
Big Tuna Besses circles below the line, using deep power instead of surface speed.
Big Eye Tuna breaks the surface in a short jump, throwing spray beside the stern. On deck, the crew leaders carefully, keeping the line off steel edges as the fish turns under pressure. A clean jaw set shows the circle hook sitting in the mouth corner of Big Eye Tuna jaws. Big Eye Tuna coned slides into a bed of ice, cooling fast to protect quality on deck. A quick celebration spreads across the deck, marking the first giant catch of the haul. The skipper records the catch, tracking effort and results as the haul continues down the line. With the gear moving again, the crew resets stations, watching every hook for the next heavy pull. A second hookup loads the line, and the crew reads the vibration that often signals a billfish.
The bill shows first, and Swordfish pen stirs the surface as it realizes the pressure.
Swordfish pen launches clear of the sea in a powerful jump, shaking the leader hard.
On deck, the crew keeps the leader clear of the bill, guiding line angles to avoid dangerous contact.
The hook sits clean in the mouth corner of Swordfish, Xiphias gladius, confirming a solid circle hook set.
A tail rope goes on, and Swordfish is guided alongside for a controlled lift.
Once aboard, Swordfish thrashes under a wet tarp, kept safe for crew and fish.
Measurements are taken quickly, turning a wild animal into recorded data for the day's production.
Swordfish is moved into chilled storage, starting rapid cooling away from sun and wind.
Another celebration breaks out, relief and pride mixing with fatigue on the working deck together.
A heavy run loads the leader, and the crew prepares for a long fight with a fast surface fish.
Blue marlin palin, Machaira nigricans, circles below, flashing stripes as it tests the leader near the hull.
Blue marlin, Machaira nigricans, explodes into the air, a giant leap that shows pure muscle and speed.
The skipper signals for a careful plan, choosing to bring Blue Marlin alongside for release. Deckhands leader Blue Marlin to the rail, keeping tension steady and angles safe.
A close proof shot shows the circle hook set in the mouth corner of Blue Marlin Tanton. Using a D-hook tool, the crew frees Blue Marlin at the waterline without bringing it aboard.
Blue marlin swims off strongly, disappearing into deep blue as the line slackens.
The release earns its own celebration, a moment of control and respect in the middle of hard work.
Foam trails behind the stern, and the long haul continues across empty water with no traffic nearby.
Hooks return to bins in steady rhythm, resetting the system for the next random strike on the line.
Atlantic bluefin tuna back, THYNNUS, spirals beneath the stern, using brute torque against the leader.
Atlantic bluefin tuna rolls at the surface, churning water as it refuses to surrender.
The hook and mouth proof shows a clean circle hook set on Atlantic bluefin tuna, securely. A heavy sling and winch lift Atlantic bluefin tuna aboard, keeping the fish stable and contained.
The deck erupts in celebration, marking a major catch as the haul nears its final section.
Inside the processing bay, the crew sanitizes stainless tables, preparing a controlled space for careful breakdown.
Ice is replenished and bins are labeled by hand, keeping lots separated without relying on screens. Fish are moved with overhead rails, reducing strain and keeping heavy bodies from damaging flesh. With practiced cuts, big-eye tuna, Thunus obesus, is opened along the backbone, separating clean loins on stainless. Big-eye tuna loins show a dense grain, and the crew keeps pieces chilled between every step. Trimming removes skin and sinew from big-eye tuna torres, leaving uniform portions ready for packing. Big-eye tuna, Thunus obesus, portions are weighed and tagged by hand, keeping traceability simple and physical. Vacuum sealing locks in big-eye tuna dull, pushing out air so freezing stays even and clean. Packed big-eye tuna goes into the blast freezer, where cold air drops temperature fast. The crew cleans down the bay, keeping the workflow ready for the next species on the processing line.
Swordfish, Xiphias gladius, is positioned for safe handling, with the bill secured and the body kept straight.
Swordfish is cut into thick steaks, each slice squared for consistent cooking performance. Trimming refines swordfish, removing skin edges and leaving clean, uniform cuts fully. Swordfish is bagged and tagged, and unbranded boxes are stacked for cold storage. Vacuum sealing swordfish keeps steaks protected from freezer burn during long storage deep. Boxed swordfish enters the freezer room, where cold vapor spills around boots and pallets. A running tally tracks production, turning hard deck work into counted yield without any flashy display.
Atlantic bluefin tuna blade is stabilized on the table. Its side is demanding careful, slow handling.
Long strokes separate Atlantic bluefin tuna loins, keeping cuts straight and surfaces clean. Atlantic bluefin tuna shows a fine grain and rich color, kept chilled to maintain structure.
Blocks of Atlantic bluefin tuna are portioned and stacked, each piece aligned for even freezing.
Labels mark Atlantic bluefin tuna dunk, lots, keeping records physical and resistant to salt and spray. Vacuum sealing Atlantic bluefin tuna tightens the pack, protecting edges from air and ice crystals. Atlantic bluefin tuna fillet goes into blast freezing, locking quality before the vessel ever turns homeward. With processing finished, the bay is washed down, and the crew looks satisfied after a full cycle offshore.
In the galley, the crew cooks a simple meal, turning processed fish into fuel and morale.
Big-eyed tuna, Thunus obesis, hits a hot pan, searing quickly while the cook controls heat and timing.
Big-eyed tuna is basted with butter, keeping the surface glossy without overcooking the center. Swordfish sears on a grill plate, and the cook flips once to keep texture firm.
Atlantic bluefin tuna is lightly seared and sliced thick, showing clean grain under warm light.
A shared meal restores the crew, and the talk stays practical, focused on gear, weather, and results.
Big-eyed tuna and swordfish are plated simply, emphasizing heat control and clean cuts.
The galley is cleaned and portions are packed, keeping food safe as the vessel stays far offshore.
After dinner, the crew coils gear and checks hardware, preparing for another set without wasting motion.
Hooks are rinsed and inspected, keeping points sharp and swivels free so the next strike holds cleanly. The captain reviews the log, linking catches to conditions and planning the next drift of gear. Under stars, the longliner runs steady, a small island of light in a vast black sea.
At dawn, watchstanders scan the water and sip coffee, holding routine while fatigue lingers quietly.
Gear is restaged in orderly rows, ready for deployment when weather and timing line up again.
A fresh hook sinks into blue water, beginning another quiet soak where the next giant could find it.
Buoy rigs are checked and untangled, reducing the risk of fouled gear during the next set. Morning conversation stays low and practical, centered on safety, timing, and keeping the deck running smooth.
Between bites, the deck looks ordinary again, masking the power that can appear on any single hook.
Landing slings and tail ropes are inspected, ensuring heavy fish can be handled without panic or injury.
A final celebration marks a successful cycle offshore, built on teamwork, discipline, and careful handling.
The vessel steams onward across empty ocean, carrying frozen product and hard-earned experience toward the next ground.
From the bridge, the skipper watches the horizon, balancing yield, weather, and the limits of man and steel.
Markers and flags are stowed cleanly, evidence of miles of gear worked far from any shoreline.
As sunset returns, the longliner stays alone on open water, ending one episode and beginning the next.